Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/am I the asshole for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my thoughts and opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Future Basis 383. Am I the asshole if I continue on a pre-planned trip if my girlfriend is arrested at the airport due to old warrants? I, 34 male, and my girlfriend, 29 female, have been dating for 6 months and have been planning to attend my cousin's wedding in June. We will be flying from Detroit to DC. I booked the itinerary in April. Earlier today, May, she discovered that she has warrants from over the past few years. Says she doesn't remember the charges. I expressed concern that she wouldn't be able to board the flight with those warrants in place. She expressed that she would get the warrants taken care of before the trip in a month. She then asked if I would continue to board the flight if she were to be arrested at the airport. I responded that I would continue to board the flight as it is her responsibility as an adult to have things in place, and we are not a married couple. Am I wrong? I think she's lying to you because I can't possibly imagine a scenario where I would have charges and thus warrants and not remember what they are, unless I just am lying to you and telling you that I don't remember what they are, when I very much do because, they're fucking bad. Also, it's charges, as in plural, multiple. How do you forget being charged with multiple things? I feel like if it was something like unpaid parking tickets or an unpaid speeding ticket, that would be a pretty easy oh fuck, I forgot to pay the speeding ticket and that's what the warrant's for. But I don't remember what the warrant's for. That's not good. That's not good at all. I feel like a warrant should tell you what the charges are for, why you have a warrant out for your arrest. It might be worth doing some digging and seeing what you can find because she's definitely hiding something. Faith in Fairies 1. Am I the asshole for telling my husband to stop talking about me? My husband, 33 male, and I, 33 female, are in an argument right now. I don't think I'm in the wrong, but I need an outside opinion. My husband has a coworker, let's call Carrie, that he talks to a lot. He always assured me it was just work stuff, and they were just coworkers. Well, the other day I was borrowing his phone for something because mine was having technical issues. He was aware and agreed and handed me his phone to use. Plus, we have an open phone policy between us. While I was using his phone, a message from Carrie came in saying, "I'll always be there for you." Something about it struck me as odd, so I looked at the messages just from the last 2 days. My husband had been telling Carrie that I was mad at him for being sick. Not true. I was mad he was well enough to game and eat Buffalo Wild Wings but not help me with the kids long enough for me to even pee in peace. And was sleep depriving him. Carrie went on to say sleep depriving him is physical abuse and he should run. She also offered to run me over with her car, to which he said he would let her know when. I am furious and confronted him about it. He said it was no big deal because she doesn't even know me. I told him he shouldn't be talking bad about his spouse to her. I also asked him how I'm sleep depriving him. He said it's because I put our daughter in preschool that starts at 9 a.m. so we have to leave the house by 8:30. For context, he works nights, leaving the house around 1 p.m. and getting home around 1 a.m. I never wake him up, he sets his own alarms, and gets up when he wants. He often did come with me to drop my daughter off at preschool, but there were many times he didn't, and I took her and my younger kids by myself. On his days off, he still chooses to go to bed around 1 or 2 a.m., which I know can help with schedule regulation. But he then is still getting up at 10 to 11 a.m. When he does work, he often asks me to stay awake to talk to him on the way home because he's tired. So I get to bed between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. depending on his work and needs. Then I care for the kids all night. I have 2 teething, so it's been rough. Then I'm up by 7 with the kids and getting breakfast for them. While he sleeps until 8:30 if he wants to go to preschool with us, or until 10 or 11 if he doesn't. I told him I'm the one sleep deprived, not him. He says none of it matters, it's just locker room talk with a colleague. So am I the asshole for telling him to stop talking about me, our marriage, or our family? I'm gonna be real, those conversations with Carrie are a massive red flag. Yeah, they are joking about killing you, but they're still joking about killing you. And your husband is actively being told that you're abusing him by sleep depriving him, despite the fact that you're not. You're taking care of your preschooler. Also, I've mentioned this once and I'll mention it again. If you're in a relationship and you're venting about your relationship to a quote-unquote potential romantic partner, as in someone who might be interested in you or someone you might have a mild interest in, talking about your relationship negatively kind of is giving off signals that you want to leave it and you're interested in them, even if accidentally. Like, his conversations with a female coworker involve you apparently abusing him, and that was just in the last 2 days. What else are they talking about? Like, to me, that just feels like they're flirting, and is borderline, if not already, an emotional affair. According to Opie in the comments in a somewhat kind of lengthy comment thread, she has offered marriage counseling, but he said no, the marriage isn't there yet. I'd let him know either you guys see a marriage counselor or you're gonna see a divorce attorney. He can pick which one. And that text message where she says she's gonna run you over and the husband says, I'll let you know when, that'll be labeled up as Exhibit A during the divorce proceedings and custody battle. So get screenshots of that, or evidence it exists if he hasn't already deleted it. Best case scenario, your husband is a naive idiot who's airing out the marriage's dirty laundry and doesn't realize that he's basically flirting with a coworker, and this needs to stop. Worst case scenario, they're already deep into an emotional affair and you need to start looking into new options. Actually, the worst case scenario is he tells her when, I guess. Elliptic. Am I the asshole for putting a bedtime pause in the Wi-Fi because my girlfriend's 28-year-old brother has spent nearly a decade rotting in our house playing video games? Around 8 years ago, my girlfriend's younger brother moved back into our house with his wife after leaving the Marines. After high school, he enlisted, spent a few years mostly doing support and base-related work, then got out. His plan was to use his GI Bill, pursue a real education, and figure a long-term career path while staying with us temporarily. We fully supported them. No rent, free housing, utilities, internet, food, and we constantly cooked meals for them. We also helped with job opportunities, resources, and encouragement. The problem is that temporary slowly became years. He never committed to school, never had a serious job, and slowly spent almost all his time gaming. He stays up until sunrise, wakes up until 3 p.m., and avoids people whenever guests come over. Meanwhile, his wife worked full-time as a cashier supporting both of them. Eventually, she cheated and left him, saying she no longer felt anything for someone who had lost all ambition and passion for life. Cheating is wrong, but I understood how resentment could build after years of carrying someone. After the divorce, he admitted he had wasted years of his life and promised he wanted to change. We supported him through that too. Then, my girlfriend's parents moved back onto the property to emotionally support him as well. The house was originally bought by them years ago before being transferred into our names, so technically, it's ours now, but there's still family attachment involved. Fast forward to now, and nothing has changed. He's 28 and still spends nearly all day in his room gaming. I've brought this issue up to my girlfriend multiple times over the years. Almost every time she either gets angry at me for bringing it up or says he's working on a study program or figuring things out. But those plans never actually happen. Her parents have also admitted they're tired of talking to him because nothing ever changes. At this point, I honestly feel like I'm stuck in an echo chamber where everyone recognizes the problem, but nobody wants to confront it anymore. 2 weeks ago, I quietly set a Wi-Fi bedtime pause from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. since me and my girlfriend pay basically all utilities, including internet. Honestly, I thought it would affect nobody except him because everyone else sleeps like normal adults. My girlfriend got upset because I did it without telling her. She said she couldn't sleep knowing there was tension in the house because of the Wi-Fi pause. She also explained that growing up, her grandparents controlled things in the house in ways that made her feel like she had no freedom. So the Wi-Fi situation brought back bad memories. I told her I understand that and agreed what her grandparents did was unfair. But I also told her she isn't a child anymore, and neither is her brother. This isn't parents punishing teenagers. This is a 28-year-old grown man spending nearly a decade avoiding adulthood while everyone around him financially cushions the consequences. I finally told her something that came from years of frustration. Somehow, everyone can sleep peacefully while watching her brother waste his life isolated in a bedroom gaming all night, but pausing the internet for 6 hours suddenly becomes the unbearable problem. She thinks I'm being cruel towards someone who may be depressed. I think everyone has spent years enabling self-destruction because nobody wants to be the bad guy. Am I the asshole? Update. Hey everyone, thank you for all the comments. I honestly never expected this post to blow up the way it did. I've been trying to read through as many comments as possible and really reflect on the situation instead of reacting emotionally. A lot of people had questions regarding the ownership of the house, and I do admit I wasn't very clear about certain details. Part of that was intentional because I wanted to maintain some anonymity for myself and the people involved in case the post gained too much attention, which it obviously did. I hope you guys can understand that. After reading through many of your perspectives, I sat down with my girlfriend last night and we had a very serious conversation about the future and expectations moving forward. I explained to her that I cannot continue living in a situation where one person refuses to take accountability while everyone else is expected to carry the burden. For clarification, the issue is mainly regarding her brother. A lot of the frustration comes from the fact that there has been little to no initiative from him despite everyone around him trying to help. I understand people go through difficult periods in life, and I truly tried to be patient and supportive, but at some point, effort has to come from the individual too. I told my girlfriend that if nothing changes, then we will need to separate living arrangements and I will move out. As difficult as that conversation was, I felt it was necessary because this situation cannot continue indefinitely without structure, accountability, and actual effort being made. The plan moving forward is to establish real deadlines and measurable steps for her brother to start addressing his situation instead of continuing to avoid it. As many commenters pointed out, VA resources will be the first thing we push him towards pursuing immediately. After that, we discussed career workshops, employment assistance programs, and other resources that could help him get back on his feet and build some long-term stability. I also made it clear that I'm willing to support someone who is actively trying to improve their situation, but I cannot continue enabling someone who refuses to help themselves. I care deeply about my girlfriend and her family, which is why I stepped up and stayed patient for as long as I did. But I've also realized I need to protect my own future, finances, and mental well-being too. For now, I'm focusing less on promises and more on actions. I genuinely appreciate everyone who offered advice, criticism, concern, and even tough truths. A lot of your comments gave me perspectives I honestly had not fully considered before. Comment from user Carrie. I have a question for your girlfriend. Kind of close to yours, but could have been asked before the Wi-Fi curfew. Why is she able to sleep when there's tension coming from you, but she draws the line at tension from her brother? She's showing you where her priorities are, and sadly, you don't make the list. And she isn't doing him any favors either. Making it comfortable for him to do nothing is not helping. And if it really is a mental health issue, then he needs professional help, not a house full of enablers. And that right there is the crux of the situation. By OP's partner prioritizing her 30-year-old brother's ability to continue to relax at home and not have any future ambitions, she's putting pressure onto OP. She's deprioritizing his comfort and his health. The brother needs to get back on his feet, but by giving him every reason not to, and by providing him an environment where it incentivizes him to continue his behavior, nothing is going to change. If he is struggling to manage his mental health, then utilize the VA, utilize any resources that you have. But whatever you do, stop giving him the option to just continue this behavior. Because right now, he's not just harming himself and his future, but he's dragging everyone down around him. The spiders in your favorite shoes don't go away if you simply close your eyes, you gotta clean them out. Present Chest 9684. Am I the asshole for posting picture proof of a false accusation into a work group chat? So a little backstory. 2 weeks ago, I came back to work after a 4-day weekend and worked as normal. We have 3 sugar syrup tanks at work. 2 are hooked up at all times, but 1 has a stopper, so we don't use the newer one. So, we use the older one first. Then, once that's out, we switch the empty tank with a 3rd backup tank and then put the stopper into the newly hooked up one. Anyways, I get there, use the tank that didn't have the stopper as everyone is supposed to, and it didn't go out, so we didn't need to change it. The next morning, I wake up to a text from L, saying I left both tanks empty. She said this publicly in a group chat, by the way. I didn't accept blame, but I didn't argue either. I said, uh-oh, I'll try to do them both when I get there. Important info, N, L's best friend, was morning shift that day. Fast forward a week, N was morning shift again. This time, I knew to check the tanks to see if anyone was trying to hide an empty one. Sure enough, I checked the one with the stopper, and it was empty. So I sent a video to the group chat, and N said she forgot. Fast forward to this week, I worked all weekend, and I get woken up to a text in the group chat saying that I didn't stock. Last time, I didn't argue, but this time I did, however. I thought I did respectfully. But I know for a fact I stocked. So later, when I went into my shift, I went to the computer, pulled up the camera, and took pictures of my clothes and sent them to the group chat. All hell broke loose. I understand it would have been easier to have dropped it. However, maybe I have a pride issue because the proof was easily accessible, so I don't know why I had to just accept being told I didn't do something, especially publicly in a group chat. Am I the asshole for not just dropping it, or is it okay that I'm defending myself against something that wasn't true? Either way, I think I need a new job with professional people. So if they called you out publicly in a work group chat where a manager or someone who has control over your position and your employment could see it, and this is happening numerous times, yeah, there's no problem with backing yourself up. If they warned you in private and then you went to the group chat, that would be a different story, but that's not what happened here. They were trying to accuse you of not doing your job in public, and you proved them wrong. If all hell is breaking loose because you proved that you did nothing wrong, then that's on them. Considering both are friends, I wouldn't be surprised if one is covering for the other. They initially tested the waters to see if you would just accept blame for one of them not doing their job. It worked, and they tried doing it again, just to make sure management would be off their back. This is, of course, all just like conjecture, by the way, and just like personal tinfoil hat theory. And if not you, then it might be someone else. Honestly, with that being said, I'd keep an eye out to see if they keep shifting blame to others except for themselves. But in the end, yeah, you're right. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to find a job with more professional people, and definitely not the asshole for just making sure your skin is covered. Captain Fascination. Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law she can't visit my wife in the hospital the same day our child was born? My wife and I discussed it in the days leading up to the birth of our son, and we agreed that we did not want any visitors the same day he was born. My mother-in-law was notified that my wife was going to require a C-section, and she told me to tell her when she was able to come up and visit, and I told her I would do so. I texted our group chat from my wife's side of the family, updating them that the procedure went well, and that mama and baby were doing perfect. She replied and said, "I know you didn't tell me to come, but we're in the waiting room. We're so excited and want to be here for you two." I texted her back saying that we appreciated her coming up, but that they should go home, and that we would see them tomorrow. My father-in-law called me shortly after and insulted me in every way imaginable, and my mother-in-law sent me a long text saying how disrespectful it was of me to not allow them to visit their daughter. I quickly reminded them that today wasn't about them, and that it was about my wife, the baby, and I. We haven't spoken since. Am I the asshole? You told them not to come. They came anyway. They admitted they weren't welcome when they arrived, against the direct request of their daughter, your wife, and are now mad at you for respecting your wife's, their daughter's, wishes. They're trying to pull the authority card or trying to make you guys grovel and apologize, but truth is, don't. Like, they're the ones who are in the wrong here. Yes, they were excited to see their grandchild, and yes, they were excited to check in with their daughter, but it wasn't quite time yet. You told them when it would be time. They showed up anyway, right after she had a C-section. And now they're mad that they showed up at a time where they wouldn't be able to see her, or you guys didn't want them to see her. And now they're upset that you guys won't allow them to trample over the boundaries you and your wife set, while simultaneously framing it as you not allowing them to see their daughter, despite it being a mutual agreement between you and your wife. Like, that's it. Not the asshole. PureGolf480. Am I the asshole for accepting my friend's offer to buy me a $25 dinner after helping them out? Now they're calling me entitled and manipulative. I, female 22, recently helped out a coworker / friend / ex-boyfriend, male 21, after his car broke down. We only dated for a little over half a year, and I broke it off because of something he did. We got back on good terms quickly after because we wanted to try and better ourselves. This is in case anyone's wondering why we're still in contact. We work similar schedules and drive the same route to work, so we usually leave around the same time anyway. One morning, his car broke down on the way to work, and he texted me about it. I offered to pick him up since I was only a few minutes away, but he initially said no, he didn't want to leave his car alone. So I kept driving toward work, which is about a 30-minute drive. About 10 minutes later, he called back asking if I could still get him. By that point, I had already crossed the bridge over the lake, so I had to make a U-turn that added about 15 minutes to my drive. I didn't mind because I wanted to make sure he was okay, and Uber prices are expensive. We both ended up getting to work about 25 minutes late. Later that night, his car started working again, but he was nervous about driving it home. I offered to follow behind him with my hazards on while he drove under 20 miles an hour for around 20 minutes to make sure he got home safely. The next day, I woke up an hour earlier than normal, 8 to 9 a.m., so I could pick him up for work again. I worked at 11:30 and he worked at 12. While at work, he asked to borrow my car to get breakfast, and I said yes. He bought us both cheap breakfast wraps that were around $3 each, which I offered to pay him back for. But he said it was okay, you can if you want to. Later that day, I was getting coffee, and he seemed like he wanted one, so I offered to buy him one too, which came out to around $11 in total. Then, later again, he asked to borrow my car a second time to buy Pokemon cards. He came back with a $70 plus box that normally costs much more, so clearly, money wasn't completely non-existent for him. That evening, he told me he would find another ride home, so I went out to a park/event with my dogs. Around 9 p.m., he texted, asking if I could still pick him up after all. I left the event to put my dogs up and drove 30 minutes back to get him. And here's where I may be the asshole. On the drive, he offered to either pay for gas or buy me dinner. Since I hadn't eaten yet, and we get employee discounts, I chose dinner. At the restaurant, I was deciding between a cheaper meal around $14 and another meal around $25 that I had always wanted to try. I even mentioned that I felt bad ordering the more expensive option and offered to help pay for it if I got it. He just responded with, "Up to you." So I got the $25 meal and planned on helping covering the tip anyway. After dinner, the vibe felt weird. I asked him twice if something was wrong, and he kept saying no. Then eventually he made a passive-aggressive comment about how he didn't understand why I picked a $25 meal after saying I might stay cheaper. At that point, I was exhausted from us constantly arguing lately, so I just said, "You're right, it won't happen again." Hours later, he texted me, asking if I wanted to talk about it. I explained that I thought a $25 meal was reasonable, considering how much I had been helping him, driving out of my way multiple times, waking up early, letting him use my car twice, buying him coffee, following him home for safety, etc. I also pointed out that he was the one who offered dinner in the first place, and I had already refused gas money twice. Now, considering his reaction, I don't even know if I should have expected anything above $5 to $10 for gas money. It's about $4 a gallon here. That's when he called me entitled. He said I only ordered the more expensive meal to get a reaction out of him. That when he helps me, he doesn't put a price tag on it. That all I did for him was go out of your way twice. And that if this is how I act whenever I help him, then he doesn't want my help anymore. He also said I wasn't being considerate of his budget because of his car issues. I didn't even skim it, but I could tell that he was going to blame me for this. So I said the same thing as last time. Sorry, won't happen again. What bothered me is that I never once asked him for money. I repeatedly refused gas money, and the dinner was entirely his idea. Meanwhile, he was still spending money on Pokemon cards and boxes. I got angry when I sat down and fully read the text. I finally told him that I didn't think I was acting entitled at all. I reminded him of everything I had done for him over those 2 days and said it felt disrespectful that he genuinely believed I ordered food just to upset him. I also said it hurt that my help seemed completely minimized the second I accepted something he offered. His response was basically that he was upset I considered the cheaper option first and then changed my mind, which he described as me pulling the rug out from under him. He also claimed I apparently do this every time he offers me something. At this point, I honestly feel used. I feel like I was willing to go out of my way repeatedly to help him, but the second I accepted a $25 dinner he offered, I suddenly become entitled. Am I the asshole? Update, I ignored his texts all day. He didn't seem bothered by my silence and would update me on his car. Then, hours later, he asked if we could talk. I told him I wasn't interested in talking about anything more, and I explained that I'm not angry, it just hurt me, very deeply. I do not think I can come back from what has happened, especially with being able to see so many people agree with me. He tried to apologize and say he was sorry for not noticing sooner that he was wrong, but I told him the timing of the apology makes it seem as if he's only apologizing because he's losing access to me. I still believe this, and I hope that I can move on from this without it affecting my job. On the bright side, he's an ex for a reason, and now you have further confirmation of why he should stay an ex. Honestly, just stop helping him. So far, it seems like he's just looking for a reason to paint your actions in a negative light, and find a reason for him to call you entitled despite the fact that he's the one who's been needing a lot of help. I wouldn't be shocked if it was some kind of projection thing or something where he feels insecure about the fact of how much his ex is having to bail him out, so the first chance he gets, he jumps on it. If this is how he treats you, after everything that you've done for him, and you had the audacity to go for a $25 meal when you've probably spent far more on gas helping him, then yeah, no more help for him. He's an ex for a reason. Keep it that way. Yeetus to thy fetus! That's the username, by the way. Am I the asshole for going on a trip alone after my girlfriend was 2 hours late? My girlfriend, 18 female, and I, 20 non-binary, were supposed to go across state lines, about a 3-hour drive, to a concert over the weekend. The plan was to show up at my house at noon so we could get to our accommodations by 3-ish and have some time to chill out before the show, doors at 7. So 10 a.m. comes around, I shoot her a text like, "Hey, just let me know when you're leaving, so I can gauge about when she'll be here." No response for about an hour, but when she does respond, around 11-ish, she tells me she just woke up and would get ready as quick as possible. Alright, no worries. She has some chronic health issues, I'm not gonna give her a hard time. She texts around noon and says her issues are bothering her, but she's doing her best to make it to me. Again, no worries. Drive safe. If you need me to come pick you up, I can do that. She says no, she can do it. Alright, cool. No updates until 12:50. She says her and her mom are having their own chronic issues, and I ask if she's on her way. She says she left 15 minutes ago, and was on her way. We live about 45 minutes, 1 hour apart. Alright, cool. You'll be here around 1:30. Okay. I'm cool. I'm chill. 1:30 passes. No updates. I call her. No answer. 1:50 hits, and I'm pissed now. I text her that I'm leaving at 2 p.m., no exceptions, no response. 2 p.m. hits, I call her twice, immediately goes to, "This customer is not available." Fine, I'm leaving. Ended up going to the concert, plus our other plans myself, which I'm used to. I'm an only child, I do everything by myself usually. I texted her the day after telling her I wanted to talk about it. Please note, she literally hasn't texted me since 1 p.m. the day before. Nothing. I texted her yesterday around 4:30 as well and gave her 3 options. Text me and we'll talk about it, tell me you want to have the talk in person, or block me and don't talk to me again. No response. I didn't do any of this to hurt her feelings or anything. I paid for the entire trip. I was gonna have her pitch in for gas or something. And I think I'm gonna blow a gasket if she tries to spin this into being my fault. Whole trip was about $500, by the way. Am I the asshole? Update. Dear God, everyone can stop saying she's dead. I found her mother on Facebook, and we had a very polite conversation. She is safe and okay. I will not be showing up at her door unless she asks because I want to give her the space to decide for herself. I would like to kindly request that people stop framing me as a murderer in the comments. You people scare me. So, OP getting the "this customer is not available" message, in the US at least, means that they were blocked. Because normally if a phone's dead or smashed or destroyed beyond belief or, something happens, it would ring and then disconnect, or it would just go straight to voicemail, the usual voicemail message. Getting the "this customer is not available," that's a very specific message to receive. So it makes me believe that rather than communicating with him, hey, I'm sorry, I won't be able to go on this trip because of my chronic pain. Instead, they just went for the block button, which is very childish. It sounds like OP's more than understanding of their girlfriend's chronic pain and flare-ups, so it's a shame that rather than, communicate that, they went for the extreme option of blocking and refused to give any kind of heads up or information or even request, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to drive there, can you come pick me up instead? OP got ghosted right before going on a big trip that they had planned together, and rather than let the tickets go to waste, decided, hey, I'll just go do this myself. Not the asshole. OP seems to have a good head on their shoulders, so trust your gut. If your girlfriend refuses to communicate further and the communication just continues to deteriorate and they would rather block you instead of talking with you, well, then I would just consider that relationship over and move on. Now, if you didn't get the customer is not available message and it would just went straight to voicemail and she didn't pick up and you haven't heard from her, and rather than checking in or making sure she's okay and you just went straight to the concert, then you would be the asshole because there's no care for your partner for the potential that, they could have potentially died. However, in this case, because of the very specific this customer is not available, that means you were blocked. So she decided to, instead of tell you directly that she wasn't able to make the trip, just decided to ghost you / break up with you / block you. So yeah. Oh hey, welcome to the outro. I didn't see you there. How you doing, handsome and or beautiful? I don't know, I can't see what you look like through a monitor, so I mean, one of the two. Anyways, hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm actually recording this right after I recorded yesterday's because trying to give myself some time to take apart my entire desk and put it back together in another area. So that'll be fun. Anyways, use code AITA at checkout with GamerSucks. Sucks? No, but GamerSups. Use code AITA at checkout. I promise it doesn't suck. You will suck it down though, that's for sure. Okay. I'm gonna go.